What's up, guys? Cole here with the SOM. I am the founder, the lead follower. I call myself the lead follower just for the sheer fact that I need it more than anybody. Check us out, schoolofman.live. There's a lot of stuff that we are coming out with, free resources. We're just in the business of creating better men by helping you focus on what matters most. So if you want a full immersion experience, our Brotherhood Pipeline, which is only open to 16 men across the country every year, that's a good fit for you. If you want more of just a resource, so you can just plug in, we got School of Man University, a lot of great stuff, a lot of great content, a lot of great things going on there. If you want to test your mettle, if you want to find your why, if you want to kill the quit, we've got the Crucible Challenge. And then of course we got what we call man skills. We're coming out with the Tactical Academy and so much more. So anyway, that's a shameless plug for the School of Man, schoolofman.live. Find us on Facebook, Instagram at the School of Man. Also, we're launching School of Man University on YouTube, hence where this video is going as well. So what I want to talk about today is about mental toughness. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about emotional resiliency a little bit. And it's honestly been written about enough. But there are some hidden things that aren't talked about a ton. So when we're working with our guys, typically when they come through the Brotherhood Pipeline, the one thing that they all deal with is self-doubt. Now, every man deals with self-doubt in some form or fashion. And self-doubt isn't necessarily a bad thing until you turn it into a bad thing and make it a crippling disease. It can be really crippling if constantly you're doubting yourself. But if you use it as fuel, it becomes very, very powerful. But when we're dealing with this, you know, you want to talk about having mental toughness. Do you have to be an ultra runner? Do you have to be a triathlete, a badass CrossFitter, do obstacle races, or even go through our Crucible Challenge to be mentally tough? Absolutely not. Some of the most mentally tough people I know, my mom right now being one of those, and that's where I pick up a lot of mine, are people that you walk alongside every single day. And it's because of the pain they have endured through their life, but their outlook on life. Our country has gotten really bad about entitlement, and that'll be for a separate video. But let's talk about just a few pillars of strength. The first thing that we all take for granted is what? Our breath. Life begins with breath, life ends with breath. All right? Your job when shit hits the fan is to bring order to chaos. The first thing you have to do when the fight, flight, freeze syndrome kicks in is control your breathing. Right? Control your breathing. So much of that is being intentional right here, but breathing and being in the present moment, but we take that for granted. We're shallow breathers, if you will. We don't recognize when stress is up, adversity is up, is just to take a few steps back. And it was something I've had to take years of training to do, to be honest with you, and repetition. But the number one thing we teach our men within our brotherhood is the art of the breath, right? The art of the breath, which leads into number two, and that's self-talk. If you're telling yourself you suck, you're going to suck. It's simple as that. But when shit gets tough, and it will, when you get a knock at the door, when it gets dark, right, and chaos starts to ensue, which typically is created from within, sometimes through our external environment, sometimes through our internal environment, you have to have a saying to yourself, and whatever it might mean. It might be that you're plugging in to someone else's pain, and that's what I'm going to get to here in a minute. It might be what you're looking to grow into, the future me, if you will, that you're chasing. And then number three is the visualization aspect of it, the rehearsal, the projection. Seeing yourself being victorious before you step in the arena is going to help prepare you for when things do occur and when you do go down range, when it comes to life in general, from the boardroom to the street, to the training room, if you will. So visualization is a big component. Number four is humor. Have fun. Like if you're breathing, you got a heartbeat, I guarantee you your worst day is probably someone's looking at your worst day. I bet you someone is looking at you saying, damn, I wish I had that life. To be totally candid with you. So take things with a smile. Shit's gonna suck, don't get me wrong, but smile, and if you're living, have fun with it and figure out why you're going through that. Number five is just having short little goals along the way. That's one thing I've learned the hard way. We tend to we're an impatient country. I'm an impatient person at times, but when I have little nuggets, little milestones, quarterly rocks, whatever you want to call them, it provides traction. All right, so here are the two ones that aren't talked about that I really wanted to get on this video and talk about. And the one that means a ton to me is taking someone else's pain and making it your own right here. That's a big deal. My mom's going through cancer right now, ovarian cancer, and the chemo treatment. So the one thing that I have always done, and I've been through a ton of stuff, and have subjected myself to a ton of stuff, from 24 hours of burpees, 3,000 burpees in 8 hours, 48-hour events, the list goes on. You know, the one thing that I always tap into, the reservoir that I tap into, are my mom. She is fuel. My little cousin Cash, she has Down syndrome. My grandmother who has passed. And anyone that's in my family that might be hurting, anyone that's in the brotherhood that might be hurting, right? That's someone that they might have lost. It might be that they're going through a knock at the door, but I even take someone else's pain that I don't even know. If I see someone on the street and they're blind, I'm like, I close my eyes for a second and feel what it feels like to not be able to see, right? And I'm thinking to myself, they're not making an excuse. Why am I wanting to make an excuse? It's a powerful tool that people do not use enough of. Plus, it removes the selfishness out of you, right? So try it on for size. So like, whether it be within fitness, you're training for a big marathon, triathlon, big event, or you are going into a heated meeting, or maybe it's a conversation with your wife, whatever the case may be, you know, tap in to that pain reservoir is what I call it. From my kids to my wife, to my mom, to my little cousin Cass, to my grandmother, and the people that I just come in contact with, my tank's full. My tank's full. I have zero excuses when things are going to test me right here and right here. And then the other hidden gem that I use a lot is you never want to rest on past victories like Al Bundy, but you sure want to use them as fuel. Knowing that I've been through some hard stuff is only going to propel me forward. Now, I don't rest on that victory. I don't possess a finish line mindset. I don't possess I've arrived, which a lot of people do. They conquer this big goal, and then they don't do anything for 10 years, right? And they become soft, right? Don't do that. I call that, for that piece of it, I call that your victory bank. Go back to the bank, excuse me, and do your highlight reel in your head of what you went through, what you have accomplished, what you have conquered, and using that to say, I got this. I got this. I've been through tougher things. The world and life is readying me for this moment right now, and this moment's going to ready me for a moment, hope to God, in the future. And using that victory bank has become a very, very useful tool. A lot of that comes from adversity as well, right? Coming through, so from a business aspect, if we were unfortunately to lose a client, doing an after-action review is important, or being put into an impromptu meeting, winning a client, that's another victory. So victory isn't all about the scoreboard. It's about also the adversity that you have endured. And then the third thing, and this freaks people out, it freaks my wife Ashley out, is die living. One of the most sobering things in my life that I have come to, and maybe it's because I'm 36 now, but I've been around death enough to know that it's sobering, and we all have. But how many of us actually let it sober us up? And what I mean by that is I'm not being morbid or being in a state of grieving for a long term. No, I'm using it as a wake-up call of like, listen, at any moment, my 1 second contract will be up. So one of the questions or statements really I make to myself is like, Cole, you're going to die. You are going to die, right? None of us know what that time frame looks like. We all have a shelf life. It's like a sand in the hourglass type of deal. But how many of us use each grain of sand? How many of us use truly each grain of sand and live and not exist? In every aspect of our lives. Look, you're human. You're going to fail. It's going to be damn near impossible to use every grain of sand. But I just want to know by the time I go up to the pearly gates, if I even make it there, and someone asked me like, hey, did you know, I gave you all these talents, I gave you all these gifts, but do you feel like you honored those? My answer is going to be a resounding yes. Yes, I have. I'm going to leave it all out on the battlefield of life. So anyway, so that was the harnessing pain was really the title of this video, talking about mental toughness, emotional resiliency. Your victory bank's important. The die living mindset is very important. The big one that I just really use all the time is making someone else's pain my pain. Okay, head on over to schoolofman.live, free resources, School of Man University. It's going to be a big thing. Check out the Brotherhood as well as our events. In the meantime, own the day. See you in the next video.